We got some guys working up there on the train bridge. Choo choo. There's a job artificial intelligence can't get from you. That's a highly labor-intensive job. There's no machine. You couldn't make a machine to figure out how to lay those tracks all day long and fix those things. Not in this lifetime. I mean, there's going to be some jobs artificial intelligence can't touch. Some of those guys make like $50 an hour. But you can't make a machine that's going to get down into the gravel, the rock, you know, the thing you got to pound in there, move the track over a little bit. That's all. You got to have manpower or it won't work. Artificial intelligence is not really going to be able to touch the intensive labor jobs or the services job, like cleaning houses. There's no machine that's going to go in, and I'm just telling you the truth. There's no machine that's going to go in a house and clean as fast as 2 Mexican women. It's not going to happen. I knew 3 Mexican women back in Colorado Springs who they were making $70,000 a year 25 years ago each. Driving to houses as a team of 3 people and cleaning them. They'd have your entire house clean in an hour and a half and go to the next rich person's house. They all 3 had husbands, Mexican husbands, and they were in the construction business. These 3 women were making more than their husbands made. It was amazing. Over 25 years ago, the 3 of them would charge like $60 an hour. They'd make $20 an hour each in about an hour and a half. They'd do about 5 jobs a day. But also they did other cleaning jobs, like big cleaning jobs. They were making about $1,500 a week. About 200, no, about 300 a day, actually. So artificial intelligence will not be able to, I'm eating my lunch in case you want to eat my lunch. Artificial intelligence will not be able to touch the high intensive labor jobs. It won't be able to touch the services jobs like cleaning or whatever. Or it won't be able to touch your mechanical jobs. There's no machine that can tear an engine down and rebuild it. Not really. You see how electric cars turned out. They didn't turn out at all. Nobody bought them. And today, people don't want electric cars. Less than 10% of the population today wants an electric car. Now, the idea of an electric car is fantastic. No gas, no oil, plug it in overnight for $5, drive 100 miles the next day, you're good to go. But that's not how they turned out, because when they started, they promised $20,000 electric cars. Elon Musk promised $15,000 and $20,000 electric cars when he got started. Now he's selling $120,000 cyber trucks. Well, it's only 100,000 more than he said. Think about it. If you could get the infrastructure and start making 23,000, not 25, $23,000 electric cars and small trucks, you would sell those faster than you could make them. But you couldn't even build the charging stations fast enough. And like me, I live in an apartment, so there's no way to charge the car. If you're looking to be a truck driver today, artificial intelligence is going to take your job in the future. They already have trucks, full semis going between Dallas and Fort Worth and across the entire state of Texas now, with no driver in the truck. Wow. There's nobody driving the truck. In 5 years, there won't be anybody driving most of these trucks. Any kind of computer job will be taken by artificial intelligence. You might be able to type 100 words a minute. A machine can type 1,000,000 words a minute. Artificial intelligence is going to take most of your hospital jobs. The machine will diagnose your problem for you. No more doctor's diagnoses. They'll diagnose the problem, and they'll give you 3 treatments for the solution that we've never even heard of yet. But we're still going to end up having a huge problem in this country. No transportation, no housing, and low pay. They say the first people that artificial intelligence is going to replace is the white-collar jobs. The guys making over $250,000 a year white-collar. They'll be gone. They'll be useless. All those guys do is manage things or come up with ideas in boardrooms. Artificial intelligence will do all that for you for free. The second group of people, it's not the baby boomers that retire, but no, it's the millennials. If you're a millennial between 40 and 55 years old, you're going to be the next group that artificial intelligence replaces. Now they say because millennials can barely keep up today. The average millennial, 40 to 55, can barely afford housing, is not making that much money as the younger groups, cannot afford 2 car payments, and then with inflation, they're screwed. I mean, the average millennials bring home in their house about $40,000 to $50,000 a year, and it costs about $60,000 a year to raise a family today for an average person. And millennials are the biggest struggling group in America today. So before the pandemic, you would walk into a Fred Meyer deli, right? And they'd be cooking chickens, 5 different kinds of chicken. They'd have all kinds of salads. They'd make you a sandwich for fresh. They had all these, fried foods up there, like 30 different kinds of fried foods. So now what do? All that stuff comes pre-packaged. They don't even make 10% of what they used to. Walk into a new, modernized, or one that's been remodeled, a deli in a Fred Meyer, and you'll be like, whoa. There's nothing in here. There's some chicken, some onion rings, a corn dog, and some potato wedges. There's nothing back here. And they got all their sandwiches made in advance. You don't even get to see the sandwich made anymore. Now, what that does was, when I went to a Fred Meyer deli, you'd see 7 people working in the back 6 years ago. You go there today, you see 3 people. So they cut back all the labor 50%, so they cut back all the employees 50% in the last 6 years in the deli. If we just have 35% of all truck drivers lose their jobs, it'll be millions of people because of self-driving trucks. And now they're starting self-driving taxis. So if you have another 30 or 40% of all taxis lose their jobs in 5, 6, 7 years, there's millions of more taxi drivers. And what do you see when you go to the grocery store now? You see these people. They pull up. They don't get out of their car. They push a little text button. The guy brings their groceries out that they pre-ordered, puts them in the back seat. You're not allowed to tip them or anything. Okay, thanks. Bye. See you later. They never even walked into the grocery store. Here's some guys trolling their boat fishing. Now, I knew the country was going this way with or without artificial intelligence. Let me explain why. Because of Gen Z. You got millennials, generation millennial. struggling to survive day to day. You got Gen Z, they're not going to participate in this bull crap. We made a mistake with Gen Z. We sent them to college and told them you need to make $120,000 a year to live. And then we raised all the prices on them. And then all the jobs, the tech jobs that they were planning on getting, all went away. Here comes another guy trolling. So 18 to like 28 years old or 30 years old, if I was that age, I wouldn't participate either. They're being told you need a $500,000 house, you need a $100,000 car, you need credit cards, you need to pay all your student loans as soon as possible, plus everything else that comes with that. And you got to have $120,000 a year just to break even. And then you need to get a 401k, save money, get a savings account, invest into the stock market. So here's what Gen Z said: no. I'm going to stay at my mom's house and live in the basement and make $18,000 a year at the local convenience store. And I'm going to let the government pay off my student loan. And society did that to them. They didn't do anything wrong. They're only 20 years old. You know, if you own a business, you know this. Your number one job is to motivate the employees and give them incentive to want to go to work. So we have told the Gen Z, we told the baby boomers, work your ass off, but during the baby boomers, you could buy a house for $25,000. Then we told the millennials, work your ass off, and you can buy a house for $180,000. Now we're telling Gen Z, work your butt off, get 2 or 3 jobs, and you're going to spend $450,000 for a house. All within a 40-year span, 40 years. Now you tell me about the greed of the bankers and the greed of the housing market and the greed. Now, I truly believe it's not possible for Gen Z to make it in today's society. If I was just starting out, and here in Oregon, minimum wage is $15.10 an hour. Just went up on July 1st, tomorrow. $40 times 15 is $600 minus taxes, union dues, insurance. You're going to bring home $500 a week. $25,000 a year. You have to be married and have a spouse who does what you do, and you both bring home $50,000 a year. So your rent is $18,000 a year. Your house payment is $25,000 a year if you have a house. It's more like $35,000. Your car payment is $10,000 a year. And their student loans are $5,000 a year. There, I just spent all their money. It's gone. The whole $50,000 is gone. $50,000 is gone, just like that. So how are they supposed to make it? Say, well, they're supposed to go to college so they can each make $65,000 a year. Well, some of them did do that, and those jobs went away. Some of them went to college, and all those jobs went out of business. Even Mark Zuckerberg just fired 10 to 20% of all the people he was going to hire. And artificial intelligence now does their job. That lady's from Germany or Switzerland or something. I was talking to her to go out to the elk preserve, see the elk. She said they did go out there, so that's nice. Now, you should not be surprised. You should not be surprised that during artificial intelligence, wages will go down. That shouldn't surprise you at all. No. That's the job of mega corporations. Make the products as cheap as you can, because quality products went out in the early 80s. It's all been plastic crap since then. Get as high of a price as you can. Number 2, get as high as a price you can for a product. And number 3, pay your employees as low as you can get away with. There's very, very few corporations in the world today that pay their employees a living wage. Now, you might go to San Francisco and get a living wage that would be okay in Minnesota, but in San Francisco, it's not even a living wage. You might make $180,000 a year in San Francisco, but you barely survive down there. And what are you doing with your time? What about your time? If you're spending an hour going to work, an hour coming home, 8 to 10 hours at work, 7 hours a night sleeping, then you have to shower, go to the bathroom, and eat your food. There's only 24 hours in a day. Your 24 hours is covered. It's gone. It's done. And you get 2 days off, Saturday and Sunday, and then boom, you're right back to your big, huge job. Someone like Elon Musk, he said he hires people that want to work 100 hours a week, and he pays them like $200,000 a year. But that's all they want to do is work 100 hours a week for the rest of their life. Or at least till they're like 45 or 50 and they're so burnt out. But those guys, they just spend 16 hours a day at work, and they just put all their money into the bank and leave it there and don't even think about it. Oh, we're living in a crazy world, my friends. Artificial intelligence, they say within 6 years, is going to take 30% of all the jobs in America. And Donald Trump has said he's going to replace all money with cryptocurrency in America within 8 years. That's what he says. Just those two things are going to disrupt the rest of your life. And they always say, well, you know, we used to have horse and buggies too, but now we got cars. Yeah, but it took 30 years of pain to get there. So they say, well, before artificial intelligence, yeah, well, there's going to be a painful curve. It'll take us 15 to 20 years to make the switch. And what about the tens of millions of people who are going to fall through the cracks during that time? Now, I'm only making a video about it because it's happening right now. It's not going to affect me personally. I'm still going to get cheap rent. A used car for $3,000. I'm still going to cook all my food at home. And then when me and my wife are retired, we'll both be on Medicare insurance, which is required by federal law. You have to go on it. So yeah. And I'll just buy some old pairs of coveralls with suspenders and wear them with some old boots. I don't care I don't care what I look like. I don't give a damn. I worked on farms, you know, before. I know what it's like to look like crap all day. Now the baby boomers are going to the wayside. The millennials are struggling. The only millennials that are doing good is if you have equity in your house. But what are you going to do if Donald Trump changes all the money in 5 years and the equity in your house gets cut in half? You know, for the betterment of society. And then, anyways, what if you get all your equity? I hope that you do. What if you get all your equity, but then the next house you have to buy is $900,000? Something crazy, stupid crazy. What we're going to see is families teaming up again. Like the kids are going to move into a trailer in their in-laws' side yard, or they're going to build a $30,000 tiny house in the backyard, and your children will live back there. But how's that going to work for the baby boomers? Because then you won't be able to sell your house and you won't get the money for it. And I'm saying, the way they're talking about it, do you know if you go to Europe right now and you put a dollar bill over the counter, you only get 78 cents or 84 cents for your money back. So if you give them $100, you only get 80 euros back. Your money's only worth, the dollar bill is only worth $80 over in Europe if you're traveling. Last year it was worth about 90. About 6 years ago, it was worth $103. You got more. Now it's worth about $80 is all as you will get in a foreign country for an American dollar. And it's worse in Canada. So, you know, I'm going to end this video, but how is this going to work? I'm not trying to make you worry, but you know, if you wake up one day and they say, In 3 months, you know, Richard Nixon did that. He said, we're going to get off the gold standard, and the price of gold and silver dropped like a box. I mean, like a rock. I mean, it just dropped. During the Great Depression, they said if you have gold or silver, it's illegal to own it, use it, buy it, sell it. You have to turn it into the government for us, and we're only going to give you like $30 an ounce of gold. Huh? And then they jacked up the price, and then they got all the gold. They got $300, $400, $500 an ounce after, you know, 30 years. Or it was longer than that, but they had all your gold. And then Richard Nixon came along and said, we're not going to go by that standard anymore. Now, you guys, you're not old enough. You're not old enough to understand how these things can happen within 2 or 3 months. Don't you remember during COVID? Well, look at 9/11. Most people born today don't even remember 9/11, 2001, 24 years ago. Or you were only 15 years old, you don't even know what was happening. Or 10 years old. So everybody under 35 really didn't understand it. And within 3 months, George Bush said, we're at war with half the world. They just made that decision for you. We're going to war with half the Middle East right now. Why? What did we accomplish? Very little. Don't you remember during the Great Recession? The houses went down 60% in Florida, Las Vegas, California, and Chicago, Illinois. 60% in 6 months. And you remember during the pandemic, what did they say? Starting next week, you have to wear a mask and do what we say or you might be arrested. Huh? Really? Now, whether you agree or not, I'm not a politician. I'm a Christian. I'm not a Republican or Democrat. I'm a Christian. Donald Trump closed the border down in 30 days. So I'm saying for you people to say, oh, that won't ever happen in my lifetime. It's already been happening since 9/11. The Great Recession of 2008, COVID, then the Great Inflation. Now, the borders closed. Now, the housing, no one can even afford a house. You don't even qualify for the price of houses today. And then the next thing, after housing now, artificial intelligence is going to take your job. Now, all of this stuff is in the Bible when Jesus said all these crazy things are going to start happening in the last days. They're going to seize hands on you and come and get you and arrest you and do all kinds of things to you, thinking that they're doing God a favor. Man, it's really windy out here. I mean, my car is going sideways. It's so windy here right now. I'm only doing about 45 miles an hour. So I'll end this video. I mean, you know, it won't get any hits anyway, but artificial intelligence is about to, and now they're talking about next year disrupting the monetary system. They already decided we're not going to have pennies. Well, you know why they do that? To see how you react. They always start with something small. Hey, what will you do if we get rid of pennies? And everybody goes, okay, whatever. And then the next move, they always make a big move. They say, oh, we're going to get rid of all money, and you're only going to have credits at your bank, And you will never see cash. We won't accept cash anymore after next year, say. That's how fast they can do it. That's exactly how fast they can do it. And you'll be going, hey, wait a minute. And then they say, you're not allowed to own gold or silver. You're going to have to take it to your bank and get credits for it on your cryptocurrency money. And then what happens if that crypto crashes? I read about an expert. He said, the government is planning a scheme that crypto will never crash again. How is that even possible? But that's their plan. That's how they're making it work in people's heads. That person's in a hurry to go buy some more crypto. Hey, you better hurry. Get the Donald Trump crypto. So I barely even scratched the surface of what's coming in the next 8 years. And how are you going to retire as a millennial? You've been waiting for Social Security. You're waiting, and then they come and take a lot of your money and everything away before. And you know that's how they're going to get rid of Social Security, is say, well, we'll just give you credits on your crypto. Look at that homeless person on the side of the road. There's a guy out there barely surviving because he can't handle life anymore. And we have 1 million of them, and then we have 1, 2, or 3 million people living in campers, truck campers, vans, sprinters, trailers. And then in about 6 years, we're going to have 2 or 3 million homeless senior citizens, baby boomers, that don't have enough money on Social Security to pay rent. They can't afford rent in 5 years, say. It's already started. Just go look up seniors, homeless seniors on Google or YouTube, and hundreds of videos will come up of people living in their vehicles. People over 55 is the #1 growing population of homeless people, 55 and older. And now people 55 and older now accumulate 50% of all homeless people in America. So think about 5 or 6 years from now. I mean, not to sound, gross or anything, but think about all the dead senior citizens they're going to have to scrape off the sidewalk every day because they died on the streets in the next 10 years. You're going to have just ambulances driving around and picking up dead people on the streets. Now, you think I sound crazy, like I'm exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. I'm barely even scratching the surface of what's actually going to happen. I know it and you know it. You're not stupid. You know exactly what's coming. And the government knows it, but they never talk about it. That person's from Montana. They tried to hit me. They wanted to make a point that I was going too slow from Montana. Because in Montana, you got to drive 3 hours to get everywhere. So you drive 80 miles an hour everywhere you go in Montana. Same with Wyoming. Well, Mr. Montana, you're in Oregon now, so be nice. He'll probably never come back. So you know what's coming. I know what's coming. The government knows more than we do, and they refuse to talk about it. Have you heard anybody in the government that's in the government today say, what are we going to do about all the homeless senior citizens within 5 to 8 years? You've never heard one person bring it up. Not Democrats, not Republicans. Matter of fact, when Donald Trump's supposed to pass what he calls his big, beautiful bill this week, he's supposed to pass this bill, and he's cutting back subsidized housing by 35% in America. And he's cutting back Medicaid about 25% to all single men between 25 and 55 years old if they don't have a job. I want you to think about that. But all those senior citizens who are waiting for subsidized housing will not be receiving it. Because the federal government doesn't give the money to the states, and the states don't have the money to give to the people. Now here in Oregon, Oregon has already cut back like 25 agencies because of the Donald Trump cutbacks on the welfare and stuff. Oh, there they go. I gotta get my crypto, man. That's funny. No, they're not actually going that fast, honestly. Mile marker 199, heading into Florence, Oregon, 199. I had a friend I know, this lady, she's a little older than me. She drove all the way up the coast to Seaside. That's just a little south of Astoria, Oregon. She was thinking about, she read about it, she was thinking if she would have to move there one day. She drove up there, spent the night, came back and said, wow, that place is crazy. She said Newport is like, the traffic's crazy. I kind of laughed. She said Lincoln City is 7 or 8 miles of straight wall-to-wall traffic at 30 miles an hour. They're from California right there. That person from California is driving slower than all the other people. That's good. I'm doing 52 miles an hour, so I'm not going that slow. And then she went all the way from Lincoln City through Tillamook up, past Pacific City to, then she went up to Pacific City, Seaside. And she said it was just wall-to-wall tourist. And the rent up there for a one-bedroom was like $1,600 a month. So she decided she won't be moving there. I said, yeah, you should have just asked me. I could have told you that. But, people have to see it to believe it. They have to see what they're looking at. I mean, they have to see with their own eyes. Or it won't work. They'll always have it in the back of their head that maybe they should go there. So what you should do is spend a week at a place and then see if you should actually move there. Spend a week at the place, and you'll know within a week whether you want to live there or not. Then I told her, well, it rains like 30% more than here in Florence up there by Astoria and Seaside. She said, I didn't know that. I told her, you should move to Brookings. That town's almost 7,000 people now. It's growing, It's a beautiful place, and it's 30% more sunshine than Florence. It's about the same temperature, but the sunny days, that we got 25 to 30% more sunny days than we have in the central Oregon coast. So, I guess that's all I got to say right now about artificial intelligence. You're going to figure it out. You're going to figure it out yourself. It's going to be thrust upon us whether you want it or not. Now, let me give you a solution. I always like to tell you the solutions in the videos. Find Jesus Christ every day. Become 100% debt-free, including your house. Sell everything and move to a smaller place. Unless you can live in your house and it only costs you $300 or $400 a month, then just stay in your house if it's paid off 100%. But you're taking a gamble like a slot machine because, you know, in the future, there might be, when the crypto comes out, there might be a housing crash. Now they're going to tell you, no, the value of your house will go up. I don't even see how that's possible. But even if they're right, you're telling me that someone's going to pay, you bought a house for $200,000, it's now worth $400,000, and now someone in 8 years is going to pay $800,000 for your 2-bedroom house? If it ever comes to that, we're all screwed. We're all done for. It's over. I mean, if the rapture doesn't happen for 10 to 15 years, and a middle-class house is $750,000, we're all going to have to make $45 an hour just to buy a middle-class house. And a loaf of bread's going to be $19. And what Donald Trump is saying, that cryptocurrency is going to solve all of these problems. I mean, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm also not the dumbest. So I kind of know a little bit about common sense. If you tell me on paper, if I gave you $10,000, I'd put it in the bank, $10,000. Just an example. And you tell me next year my cryptocurrency is worth $50,000. Okay. But now a house goes from $400,000 to $800,000. How did I benefit from that? And a loaf of bread goes from $5.99 to $8.99, and a gallon of gas goes to, and by the way, Donald Trump promised $2.50 a gas by summer. He said by 4th of July, during the campaign, you can look it up, he said, I'm going to have gas at $2.50 a gallon by July 4th, the first year. Well, it's July 4th, and our gas here is $3.99 a gallon. So that's another promise that was broken, is what I'm saying. I like Donald Trump. I don't got nothing against him. I'm just telling you the facts. I heard him with my own words say during the campaign, by the first 4th of July, you'll be paying $2.50 a gallon. He said, drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill. Well, he hasn't been drilling a lot, and gas went up $1. At least around here it did. Now, did you hear in California, I'm not kidding, Gavin Newsom wants to get a 75 cents. There's another homeless guy pushing a bike down the road. He wants to get another the governor of California wants to get another 75 cents added to the gasoline state tax to pay for everything. So they're saying gas in California by next year, if this passes, could regularly be $7 a gallon. So how are we benefiting? Well, we're going to give you a 45-cent raise at your job. Yeah. And I'm going to have pink elephants, taking me to work, and they're going to show up and give me rides to work. So that's all I got to say about that, I guess. Like Forrest Gump, that's all I got to say about that. Stupid is, stupid does. This country is about to do a lot of stupid things in the next 8 years. Now, Donald Trump won't be here in 3 years. But if he closes the borders, kicks out tens of millions of people out of our country, completely changes the entire monetary system, inflation still goes up, housing will double again, be 100% increase in housing. It's already happening over here. And homelessness triples to 3 million people. How are we benefiting? So, what you need is be Jesus, 100% debt-free. Number 3, start teaching your, look at those logs. Teaching your family the Bible and start saving money. And if you really want to get into it, you can have 6 months worth of canned food at your house. And after that, there's not going to be anything you can do about it. Just try to lower the monthly cost that it takes for you to live every month. Make it lower and lower and lower as much as you possibly can. And get ready for your children to move back home, because they won't be able to survive. And that's the only thing you can do to prepare. Because if they change the entire monetary system, things could happen that nobody could ever even comprehend. Now, I pray to Jesus none of this stuff happens, but a lot of this is in the Bible about the craziness of the last days and the things they're going to do. There's always just a few people at the top who get really rich. And the bottom 50% get poorer, and then the middle class just struggle to survive. They're not poor, but they're never going to be rich, and they just struggle to survive every single day.